facts.
So what is it in Hindi? Is
First of all, it's not caste, it's Varna. And you know what Varna is?
I know English.
You don't know. You don't know about the derivation. What about Varna? Varna, my friend. Varna means vocation. From Sanskrit. Vocation, Varna.
What about Jati?
It's propaganda that was introduced. Propaganda in the 19th century propaganda. You had a caste system.
What about
You had sati.
What about Jati? What
This is
about Jati?
propaganda.
What about Jati?
And you've fallen.
He's right.
You've fallen for
You are not-
propaganda.
No, it's all right.
You have.
You are from India?
You've fallen propaganda.
What about Jati? Is that something which is close?
There's a
Varna
caste
means.
system, you know.
Varna
Shooter-
means.
There are shooters
Varna
untouchable.
means
I cannot
vocation.
believe him, you know. He's like
Varna
some rubbish.
means
There
vocation.
is
From
untouchable.
Sanskrit.
There is untouchable, you know, and they are not allowed to untouchable, and they are not. What are you talking about?
Untouchables, they
There's a
cannot get
big
married
minority in
without
India.
the
Untouchable, you know,
owners,
and they are not allowed to.
consent, you know.
They are not allowed to come in the state highway.
If what you're saying is true,
without getting paid.
if what you're saying is true, why does the Constitution of India make untouchability illegal?
They made it illegal. They made it illegal. But
Exactly.
it's not in practice. They've
If
made
India got independence, India got independence in
What's
1947.
What's saving India?
Why is it illegal under the
What's saving
Constitution?
India is there. It's the
Why
Constitution.
is it illegal?
They have.
Who made it illegal?
Guys, why just shout? You're just
Why is
standing
it
so close.
illegal?
No need to shout.
Why is
I'm not
discrimination?
shouting.
Why
He's
is
not.
I know,
he's
you
not
both.
letting me speak.
discrimination?
If
Yeah.
you let me speak, I don't need to shout. You.
By the way, why did the Indian
He's not letting me
Constitution have a special clause in there for this lower caste to be treated equally? Is it because they were treated unequally?
Good point.
What the Constitution was
that's a
doing,
point.
what
Well,
the
you carry on.
Constitution was doing,
Okay.
was it was guaranteeing that India divided up into Varnas, which is different vocations.
By whom?
And by the way,
Who divided them into Varnas?
these are self-selecting vocations that communities specialized in.
No, but is it in the Hindu scriptures?
The Varna system
Yeah.
happened as a result of specialization in Britain, in London today.
No, it's very- is it a Vedic
Don't
philosophy?
interrupt me. Let me answer the question.
Yeah, but you were
In
interrupting him
London,
just
in
now.
London, in London today,
Yeah.
you have people who specialize.
Trade.
So you have people, you have trades. Varna means trade. His man's right here.
Plumbers, carpenters.
Very wise. So it means in Sanskrit a person who specializes. You're much more likely to be a good plumber if your parents were a plumber, especially before you had universities, before you had vocational colleges. You had to be an apprentice. In order to be an apprentice, the master who would teach you, the master plumber. Let me finish.
No,
Don't change the
what you
subject.
said is-
Let me
is clear-
finish.
is clear.
Let me
We are talking
finish.
about
Okay,
two
let me
things.
finish
You
and
don't
then we
want
talk.
the truth.
We are talking
Because the
about two
truth
things,
is
you know.
different from the propaganda in your
It is
mind.
not propaganda.
You
are
don't
like,
want
you know,
wisdom.
No, it's not wisdom.
It is.
You are
Well,
just
a master
negating
plumber.
the
Let me
you know,
finish.
reality,
Let
you
me
know.
finish.
You're not
Let
accepting
me
the
finish,
reality,
and you
know.
can speak. The master plumber would not teach a random person's son or daughter to be a plumber unless he was paid a high fee. Why would he do that? Because that person would compete with him. So for that person's son or daughter, they would teach them as an apprentice plumber for free. And that was the reason why you got families specializing in vocations. And the highest paid people in India were included the caste that were metal workers.
Common knowledge.
Yeah, but not.
It's common knowledge, yes.
But it's not
metal
all their
workers. And the only
What
reason
about
why...
tell us about
the only,
untouchable.
let me
Tell us about
finish.
untouchable, you
The-
know. Talk
your
about
so-called- your so-called untouchables
Okay,
included
tell
the
me.
metal workers.
Yeah.
The metal workers were once one of the richest communities in India, the metal workers. And their income collapsed. And their income didn't collapse because some Brahmin priest said they're untouchables, these are evil people. Their income collapsed because of industrialization. The metal goods were being made in factories. So those metal workers became extremely poor. The East India Company banned... let me finish.
No, you just
let me
finish your-
finish.
finished. It's-
The
we
East
understood
India
that, you know.
Company
We understood what you're talking
banned
about.
manufactured goods from India,
that's a
and these metal workers and manufacturing workers became extremely poor. They became the poorest people in India.
India is the worst.
So what
place,
you're
okay?
saying is,
still
what you're saying,
untouchable are
what
not
you're
allowed
saying-
to enter in
what you're saying
Brahman's
is
temple.
completely
if
wrong.
If you enter in Brahman's
don't
temple,
have the
they
wisdom
just,
on
you know,
the topic.
They burn you alive.
Yeah, I know.
They burn
You're
you
just
alive.
making up propaganda, by
Infanticide,
the way.
you know.
No, it's not propaganda. Have you read
propaganda.
Okay, now you have spoken a lot. Will you let us speak without
ahead,
interrupting?
go ahead.
Okay. Do you believe the Upanishads are something which is Hindu scriptures which they believe as a Shruti?
Upanishads are a part of a vast literature which no single human being could ever read. The Vedas,
Is it
the
a Hindu
Upanishads, and the other scriptures.
Is it a Hindu
These
scripture?
are millions of.
I didn't ask
pages
you how
of
many there are.
literature.
I just asked you, are there Hindu scriptures which are credible according to the Hindus?
No, because
Upanishads.
no, they're not credible. Because
Upanishads are not credible.
I've read the Upanishads.
So which scriptures
Upanishads,
are?
the
By the way, why
Upanishads,
shouting?
the Vedas,
Can you have a civilized
do not
conversation without
have.
shouting?
The Upanishads include, for example, the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
The Bhagavad Gita is very close to Buddhism. Other parts of the Vedas and the Upanishads are very close to a more warlike religion, like, say, Islam, which is very warlike. So different aspects
I
of
thought Ashoka
the
was
Vedas,
warlike.
the different
Ashoka was a Hindu.
different
He fought
parts,
wars.
different parts of the Vedas have a different.
Okay, give me one
strand of
scripture.
belief.
Give me one
And that's
scripture.
why- let me finish.
No, I just asked you one question. You went
Within the
into it.
Vedas, you have many different sub-religions within the Vedas.
Are the
You
Vedas
have many
considered
different
Hindu
gods.
scriptures?
You have many
Are the
different gods
Vedas
within the
considered
Vedas.
Hindu scriptures?
The Vedas are considered a body of scriptures that you can choose to follow, and different wise men, different gurus, as they
What's the
call,
difference between a Shruti? Wait.
follow
Let's see if you know the difference between
Vedas.
Shruti and Smriti. Do you know the difference between Shruti and Smriti? Because the Upanishads and the Vedas come under Shruti, which they have to follow, which cannot be changed, unlike the Smriti. If you read Manusmriti, that is where most of these caste, discriminations
wrong.
come from. If you read, there's a
The laws
reason.
of Manu.
Look.
The laws of Manu is.
I
what
let
we're
you speak. No,
talking
I let
about.
you speak. Allow me to speak
making
without
up
interrupting.
stuff.
Without interrupting.
You're
I did not.
making
No.
stuff up.
The reason,
And
doctor.
this is what we've been doing earlier.
The
as well.
reason
You're making stuff up.
you're interrupting.
You are
Bro,
unfortunately.
wait.
You're the, like,
Bro,
you know,
You don't have
brother,
any sources.
brother, wait.
So-
The reason,
Repeating propaganda.
the reason, doctor.
19th century propaganda as if it's
You are
fact.
But
behaving like,
Upanishad-
you're behaving
I
like,
know
you
what the sources
strange,
are.
You know, you are
From
behaving
where
like strange
your propaganda
person,
began.
unfortunately,
Anyway,
you know.
let the
Habibi,
gentleman
let me
continue.
finish.
Let the
The
gentleman.
Upanishads are not from the 19th century. They are not propaganda. They're Hindu scriptures.
Okay.
Wait, let me finish without interrupting. I let you speak at least for 20 minutes or something.
No, you haven't.
I have.
About 3 or 4 minutes I've spoken.
Okay, so at least allow 3 or 4 minutes without interrupting. The Smriti and the Shruti, which you don't know the difference, and I'm sure you don't know. Otherwise, you wouldn't say the Upanishad something which they choose to follow. No, it is Upanishads and the Vedas are considered to be major texts of the Hindus, which they do take very seriously. Maybe you don't. I don't know.
Okay, you're changing now. You're
No,
jumping
I'm not.
down.
I'm
We
talking
are
about the
talking
scripture.
about-
Follow
we
or
are
take
talking about,
seriously.
you know,
These are two very different things.
things are
Okay,
very clear.
when you take something
They are
seriously, do you not follow
untouchable.
it?
They are untouchable. There's a
necessarily.
huge
Okay.
population
So-
of
so-
untouchable
so-
in India.
Let me give you an illustration.
No, but I will finish it. You didn't even give me 1 minute.
Let me give you
You're already interrupting
let me
after
give
1
you-
minute.
No,
let me finish.
no.
I
No,
give you,
no,
you
no.
for 3-4 minutes.
Don't jump onto
You did
separate
not-
points.
It's not
Don't
separate
jump-
points.
you are.
I
Let
use
me
the
address
scripture.
point, then you can come back.
Okay. Okay, so
No, don't move
I
on.
will interrupt you then.
Whether
I
you
will
take
interrupt you.
something seriously.
I will
No,
interrupt you.
Okay,
I will
whether
interrupt
you
you
take
if you-
something seriously.
Okay, if you don't
or
take it-
must follow it are two
Okay.
different things. I take, for example, the Quran very seriously.
No, you don't.
Do I literally follow everything in the Quran? Of course not. Nobody can follow every single thing in a book because nobody's perfect. So the point I'm basically making is that there's a vast literature in Hinduism, and I've listened to a lot of the literature, the Quran. I've sat in the Regent's Park Mosque. I've been to Hindu temples, Christian churches, Buddhist temples as well for meditation, and I've learned something in all of them. Christianity, I love the Sermon on the Mount.
What's that got to do with the topic?
So the point I'm trying to make is this.
Is what?
The point I'm trying to make is this.
Do you have to believe in the scriptures or you don't?
Is
That's the question
that,
I asked you.
Is that I take a lot of
okay, let me
scriptures
tell
very
you, okay,
seriously,
now I
but
got
I
this,
don't believe
I
that
got
I
the-
must follow them.
I got this
literally.
statistic-
Okay, which Sampradaya of the Hindus do you follow if you're a Hindu?
My friend,
We are in a different discussion.
I
You
have
are
listened
starting, you know.
to a lot of
I didn't ask you who you
Upanishads,
listened.
the Upanishads.
I just asked you, which
And the Bhagavad
Sampradaya do you
Gita.
follow?
And I believe that in the Bhagavad Gita, just as in the Quran,
Yeah.
and just as in the writings of the Buddha, and just as in the Bible of Christianity, that there's a lot of wisdom.
That wasn't my
And
question.
I've been very, very profoundly
What?
moved and influenced by that wisdom.
But are you a Hindu or not?
My friend, I've just given you my answer.
He doesn't
No,
That I'm
no, you haven't.
open-minded.
All you did was you
I'm
listened to X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, he doesn't
I just
have
asked you,
truth.
are you a Hindu?
That's
Brother,
right.
brother, wait.
I said,
But are you a Hindu or you're not?
I
You
said
see, you won't answer the question.
you want to put
Because if you
people into
ask,
tribes.
no, I didn't.
You want to put people into tribes.
It's not a tribe. Hinduism is not a tribe.
Tell you something.
I
You know,
believe the only tribe.
I got this status.
I believe
You are a
the
neo
only
Hindu.
tribe.
Let me tell
You choose. You pick and choose based on your
I
whims
believe
and
the only
desires.
tribe is
Tamil,
humanity.
in Tamil
Okay,
Nadu,
that's the reason.
Humanity is the tribe.
You pick and choose what your whims and desires are going to be.
I do
Yes.
pick
Let me
and
explain
choose.
you.
So you're not a new. You're a neo Hindu.
Tamil Nadu,
I do pick and choose.
in Tamil Nadu,
All, including Islam,
in Tamil Nadu,
the best ideas from Islam.
So after reading all this,
Tamil Nadu.
who do you think is God? You've read all the scriptures. So according to you,
He himself
because
is a God.
I don't know. Do you actually believe there is a God or you don't?
Okay, so the problem is you have to define what you mean by God because everyone has a different definition.
What's your definition?
You want me to define God?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
We want to see where you actually stand.
Okay, there's a universe
There's a man who
around us.
stands for no one.
Okay, there's a universe that's all around us, yes?
Yeah.
And this universe exists.
Yeah.
I know I exist because
Right.
I can feel things, see things, I know I exist. I see the universe all around me, so I believe, yeah, it probably exists. This is all real people in front of me.
Okay, go
Very
on.
good people.
Good.
But then there's a big problem. Where does this existence come from? Why do I wake up in the morning? Life is a struggle. You know, life is a struggle to work, to strive, to live, to survive. Why do I go through all this effort? What's the purpose of it all? Who created me and why did they create me? And that also is linked to why was this universe all around us created? Is there a creator of this universe? Did the universe create itself?
Are you answering or asking?
I'm trying to do both.
No, but I asked you a simple
You have
question.
to ask
Can you
the
please?
question. You have to ask
Can you
the
please
question
answer the
before
question?
you
Who is
answer.
God according to you?
Okay.
Good.
So if we agree there's a universe that exists, then we have to know how did it get created?
Okay, go on.
Does it have a separate creator who created it? And do we call that creator God? And if that creator created the universe, that creator created all of you. And if it created all of you, then it will probably know why you should live, why you wake up in the morning and you struggle to survive. You love your families, you
You're
love
giving
your
a
children.
lecture.
Well, that's why
My
we're
friend, I
here.
didn't ask you the purpose of life. I asked you.
That's why we're here.
No, I asked you who is God.
Why are we here?
All I asked you is what is God according to
do
you?
we call?
Can you please answer
So
that
what I'm
question?
trying to say is,
Yes. You're giving a thesis
has
on,
to be a-
on why the purpose of your
there
life.
has to be a creator that created
Okay, so
us.
do you believe in God? Yes or no?
Let me get.
Yeah, please get that quickly because you're giving a lecture. You're giving a lecture. Do you like the sound of your voice?
My friend,
You like the sound
do
of
you
your
like
voice,
the sound
don't
of
you?
your voice?
I like to answer based on the question I'm asked.
So
Do you like to do
you're
that?
insulting
You
me
just
when I'm
change
trying
the
to
topic
speak.
from
How am I
one to
insulting
one
you?
to next one.
All I said is when
change
somebody
the
asks you a
topic,
question,
you say-
give an answer to that.
When I
Don't go about beating
like the
that.
sound of your voice.
You
all
do
this kind
because
of stuff.
I asked you several times a simple question and you're beating it on the bush, not
I'm
answering the
not.
question.
I'm directly answering your question.
Are you?
By defining
Are you?
the question.
Also, wait,
If
wait.
you start with a
so,
you-
so now,
you-
so now you're saying my question is not well defined. When I ask you, who is God according to you?
and I'm answering that
Which part?
because
Which part are you
have-
answering?
You have to define the question.
Which part have you not got?
If you talk in terms of God, we have to define what God
Okay,
is.
so that's what I asked
That's
you.
what I was
The term
trying to do.
God, the term
When I
God.
tried to do that, you kept interrupting, my friend.
So far you have
Then you
said
started
why,
insulting me.
who created the universe? The universe exists. What is our purpose here? What has it got to do with who is God?
That is the central question, what the purpose is. That's why
If
everybody
you can't
here.
answer, just say
Why are all
so.
these people here? Because they want to know what the purpose
What's the
is.
purpose?
Okay.
Do you
Just
have
give
the
us in 1
answer?
minute,
No, the question is to you. Have you? If you don't have the answer, tell me and I'll answer you.
Yeah, just what's the purpose?
Just tell me what is God according to you once
We
again.
want to know what the purpose of life is. And God is the thing connected with answering that question. When we go to a
Did I
religion,
ask you the purpose
when
of
we-
your existence?
When
No,
we,
I did
when
not
we
ask
go
that.
to a religion,
Yeah.
and it could be Hinduism, the Vedas, it could be the Quran, Islam, Muhammad, and Allah. It could be Jesus and God.
Yeah.
It could be Moses and Yahweh.
So you're not certain.
Or it could be the Buddha.
So you're not
Or
certain.
it could be the Buddha.
So you're not certain.
When we go to those religions,
Yeah.
we're not going there because we're saying, "Who is God? Let me do what He says. I'm His slave."
Why not?
That's
You
not
could
what.
be.
That's not what we're
You
doing.
could be.
That's not what. We're
How do you
really
know?
doing.
How do you know?
That's not. That's
How
not
do you
what
know?
we're really doing.
Because if
What we're really doing
Is
is
what?
we're saying, every day my life is a struggle. I wake up in the morning to stay alive. The work I do, the relationships I have to maintain. Why do I do all of this?
You see-
that's the reason why we want to know What is God? What created me?
Okay, so have you got the answer?
Why should I continue?
Have
to
you
do
got the
what I
answer?
do?
This is like the fourth time. Have you got the answer after
understood.
wait,
What's the answer?
after you started seeking all these directions? So far, have you got the answer who is God or not?
I'm trying to
Try
answer your
this.
question.
This is like the fourth time. Fourth time you're trying.
You're repeating. It's to take.
Exactly, I'm repeating because you haven't
You
answered
answer
yet.
a question. If you ask me, can you explain to me what gravity is? And I tried to explain to you step by step. Here's time, here's a ruler, here's an apple, the apple falls, hits the ground, and step by step
Come
I
on, just
explain
talk
what
to about
gravity
this,
is.
Yes.
you know, what
And you
you're talking
keep
about.
interrupting me every time I say there's a ruler and there's a
No, you said you saw all these different religions.
If you keep interrupting
No.
me, you'll never
By the
know
way,
what gravity
have
is.
you realized you interrupted me within the first minute? And then you get offended when I interrupt you when you're not answering the question I asked you. Several times I asked you now. You wait. The reason you're smiling now is because you know that you haven't answered the question.
The
You're
reason
beating
I'm
around the bush.
smiling is
You
you
want
saying answer
no.
the question,
You want to.
and you won't
You know what he wants to do?
answer the question.
He wants to please everyone so that he doesn't get put on the spot. Now he has been put on the spot
What's
to
wrong with
answer the
pleasing everyone?
because you cannot.
Surely.
That is foolish.
But the truth doesn't please everyone.
No.
Not accepting like
If I-
in
if
India there is
everyone here-
untouchable, there is
if everyone here
there
knew
is feeble
what
in
causes
25, okay?
gravity,
If you try to please everyone,
causes gravity, would that not please everyone here?
Gravity is different to
If
God.
everyone here knew what the purpose of life is, would that not please everyone?
Okay, shall I answer that without
If everyone
interrupting?
here knew the truth, would that not please
I
everyone?
told you think that everything that
The
you.
purpose of life is to try to please as many people as you can, not to upset them.
So you will have to lie then, in order to do that. Because you know there are many people who will not agree with everything that you say. So in order to please them, you'll have to lie
How
to
many
them.
people here disagree with 2 + 2 = 4?
What's that got to do
Put
with?
your hand up if you disagree.
What's that?
With 2
That is got to do with logic. Nobody says.
Okay.
Nobody says
So I've
logic is
proven
wrong.
that you're wrong on this point.
No. I said if you're proving.
Everybody agrees.
When you try to talk about
Everybody
religion,
agrees.
wait. When you talk about religion,
Everybody agrees on
what you have done now, you have gone from religion to maths. Two different
They're not
fields.
two different things. They're not two
Are they?
different things. They're
Okay,
not.
so what in mathematics? What is God?
In terms of mathematics.
Let's what's that?
Okay.
God.
Okay, let's talk in terms of mathematics.
Yes, God.
What is God?
Make sure you involve God in that.
Creator. Do we agree that God is the creator?
Yes.
And in order to create anything, you have to start with something.
Something.
Like what?
Yeah? You
What
have to
thing?
start with something.
What thing?
In order to create anything, you have to start with something. Do
What
we
thing?
agree with that?
Why not X nihilo?
So what do we start
Why
with?
not X nihilo?
Okay, let's take 0.
Yes.
Let's say I want to create a proton and an electron. A proton has positive charge, it's a plus. An electron has
No answer again.
charge.
I asked where is the God in the maths. He
what?
goes into a different tangent.
No, maths.
That's what he does. He
You
evades the
talked
question.
about maths.
He evades the
You
question.
asked about maths.
I said God in maths.
God. I am talking about God.
God in maths.
So let's talk about the creator.
Yes.
What create? Yes.
The material
What?
world. He's talking about a material
Yeah. But in terms of maths.
Yeah, but God doesn't need material to
so we're
create, does
talking
he?
about the creator. What created the universe? We define God as the creator. We define God as the creator of the universe.
Do you agree with that, by the way?
God is the creator of the universe.
Okay, so
that's definitely
when you
one
say-
of the definitions.
Okay,
Yes.
when you say God is the
So let's
creator,
look at that.
no,
Let's
wait.
focus on it.
When you say God is the creator of the universe, you're assuming God exists.
That's one of the definitions. Let's focus on
No,
that one
not
right
less.
now.
Do you agree God
Let's
exists?
focus
Do you agree God exists?
We're trying to show if it's possible.
Oh,
After that-
so it is still if it's possible that God exists.
Okay. So
Have you realized that? It's
we've
a
got
bit.
we've got a
you've got to read
negative, we've got a -1, and we've got a positive, a +1. Now, how do we create them out of nothing? If we start with a 0 and we split the 0 into 2 numbers, and those 2 numbers.
You can't split 0 in maths.
Let me finish.
You can never split 0 in maths.
Let me finish.
I don't know which maths he's
Let me
learning.
finish. Let me finish.
Nice try.
Let me
0 into 2 numbers. Have you realized that?
Let me
You
finish.
cannot in mathematics
Let me
split 0 into
finish,
anything.
my friend. Let me
0 is
finish.
nothing.
Let me finish, my
Go on.
friend.
You know how it feels now
Okay,
when you don't let me finish.
Let me finish.
Good.
You take your 0.
Yeah.
And you split your 0.
You can't split a 0.
Let me
You
finish.
cannot
Let me
split a
finish.
0.
Let me finish.
Remember, you know when you try to divide a 0, that's what he means.
No.
You get an error.
No.
When you try to divide a 0, he doesn't know maths, this
About
guy.
dividing by 0.
You can't divide 0. Because it
I'm
doesn't
talking
exist.
about you split your zero.
You can't divide a zero.
Let me finish.
Splitting means
Why are you
divide.
interrupting? Why
Because your maths is wrong.
You won't let the answer be heard.
You never answer anything.
The
You go
answer
about
is
beating it on the
you
bush.
split your zero
Yes.
into +1 and -1.
You cannot split it into
Because
You
plus
can never
one-
split a zero into
because
+1 and -1. You cannot.
-1
I mean,
equals 0.
You cannot split a zero.
+1 -1 equals 0, yes or no?
No, but you cannot split a zero. Yes or no?
It's
Yes
international.
or no?
Yes or no? You cannot split a
Plus
zero.
one, plus
You
one.
wouldn't answer my question.
You talked about how
Okay,
do you
so
get
it's got
God
nothing
from
with God.
maths.
Have you
How
realized
do you
that?
get God
So
from
once
maths?
again, he
Proven
said nothing about
how you
God.
get God from
Okay,
maths.
and by the way, he said
Get from God from
earlier, this
maths.
guy, you know the discussion.
I think
wait,
you do.
wait, the discussion.
You can split zero. Look.
+1,
Look.
+1, -1.
Oh, look what we got.
+1,
Error.
+1, -1.
That's what I told
equals
him.
0. No, no, no.
You know why? You know why he's talking?
Let me do a calculation.
Zero by zero.
No, I didn't say
Yes,
that.
you said split
that.
zero.
Look,
You said
look,
split
look,
zero.
look, look. +1,
He didn't say that.
+1,
One was never
+1 minus
But there is no
1
one.
equals
There is no
0.
one there. There is no
So
one.
I'm right.
We got zero.
No, you said
Wait,
split
there
the
is
zero.
no error. We got
Okay.
zero.
Did you say split the zero?
No error.
Did you say split the
I
zero?
said split
There is no
0.
one.
Exactly.
There is no one.
Try splitting the zero.
+1
no
and
plus one
minus
and
1.
minus one.
If you split
I
zero,
didn't say
wait, wait.
divide it. I said
No, no. You say when you split it, you don't get +1.
Split 0.
When you split zero, you don't get +1.
minus
No, you
one.
don't get it. Okay,
fact
so where is God still? I still don't see the God. Where's the God?
You said, how do you get God from
Okay.
maths?
You know earlier,
said-
because you're not
I
listening to us, I'm going
I
to listen to
said
it. You know earlier, he said
plus one
that
minus
the caste system
That
is.
gives you your
You know where he was lying about the one now?
proton.
The one in the
Negative
Hinduism
electron.
is called jati. He did not want to indulge in that, and the Upanishads it says where is
You
that?
don't want to debate.
No, I don't want to because you don't listen. You don't listen to it.
Dishonest, you know.
Okay. Now the reason I'm not talking to him is because he does not answer any questions. The reason he didn't want to indulge in the Upanishads is this. It says in Chandagya Upanishad, number 5 times 7. It says now people. Now listen to me. I'll listen to you. Now people here whose behavior is pleasant can expect to enter pleasant womb, like the Brahmin, the Kshatriya, or the Vaishya caste. But people of foul behavior cannot expect to enter enter only a foul womb, like the dog or a pig or the untouchable caste Chandana. So the caste system is called the jati, which he tried to say is actually the Varanas. No, they are not based on the occupation in their Upanishads with the scripture. Wait. Long before the English came, long before the Muslims came, this particular book was already there. The reason he wanted to throw it under the bus is because it doesn't agree with his own narration. You know why this guy talks a lot? Because he doesn't want to answer the question. I asked him.
Subject.
No, it was about caste system. It was about caste system.
I got statistic for female infanticide. Okay, 15 in
I did not change the subject.
2021, 15 people, 15
15 out of 1.6 billion.
in Tamil Nadu, just 15 in Tamil
15
Nadu.
people out of what? 100
Continue speaking.
10 in Andhra
You have
Pradesh,
female
15
infanticide in all
15 in
countries in
Tamil
the
Nadu,
world.
Rajasthan is 7, Madhya Pradesh is 6. It's all
Six
together.
people. Six people out of 120 million.
Even one child is like a, is a human. What are you
120
talking
million.
about? If they kill one child, one infant is, for you it's nothing. What are you talking about,
my
man?
friend, you said that
There is
millions
still
of people
untouchable.
you
There is a
said-
caste system,
you
worse
said-
caste system.
You said there were
And there
millions
is
of
a-
people experiencing infanticide, and you're talking about
Millions of-
6 people.
millions of
6
people.
people out of 120
You just
million.
you are lying. You didn't even listen to brother
Tamil
who's like
Nadu.
you try to talk to you
Tamil Nadu is
nicely, but
50 million.
you
Tamil
refuse to.
Nadu is 50 million people.
You refuse to debate with a person
So the fact
nicely,
is,
You just
the fact
Yeah, because
is,
he doesn't answer the
what
question.
you're talking about by
Okay,
your own
by the way-
figures
by the way,
is extremely rare.
Maybe he doesn't. How many people died in COVID in India? Guess. Just give a rough guess.
The overall rate of mortality.
You won't answer. See, you never answer the question.
I am answering.
No, you're not.
Let me
You're not.
answer.
You're not. You're talking about
The overall rate of
So in India, millions died during the COVID. Millions during the COVID. You know what? Wait.
The population of the country,
Read this.
1.6 billion.
Read this.
How many died in
Read this.
Britain of COVID-19?
It says here, caste kills more in India than coronavirus.
imagine.
Okay, so it's not 6.
Imagine.
It's not 6. It's millions.
Caste kill someone.
Caste system.
How can a caste system kill someone?
Because the caste they discriminate.
That's the job.
No, according to you, that's a lie. No, it's not a job. No. The reason they kill the untouchables. Why does a job has to discriminate based on touching them? Why do they become untouchables if it's just a job?
Okay.
You know earlier what he said? He said because they were metal, they're working in metal, they become untouchable. Look at the absurdity of this man. He lives under a rock. If he thinks he's going to deny what happens in India, the caste system kills more than coronavirus. This is the Deccan Chronicle.
So you've got some random website.
Deccan Chronicle is not random.
What website is that?
Deccan Chronicle.
It's a news website. So you got one random website.
How many do you need?
Okay, what caused COVID-19?
Oh God, changing topic. Changing the topic. That's what you call changing the topic.
You know,
COVID-19 was created in a lab. COVID-19 was created in a lab.
Just take paracetamol and come.
COVID-19.
You know, now that it's lost the argument, it's changing the topic. Okay, do you believe Reuters is Reuters?
No, not on COVID-19.
No,
I don't believe it.
Hold on.
Say.
No, I'm not saying about COVID-19. I'm not talking about COVID-19.
COVID-19 was total propaganda, by the way.
Who's talking about? He's changing the topic.
Nobody believes in COVID-19 today.
Is any
It's the
newspaper?
worst possible source you can have.
Okay, is any newspaper?
COVID-19 was a hoax.
Is any newspaper, according to you,
And who
credible?
believes the hoax of COVID-19?
I didn't talk about COVID-19. I said it killed more people.
We are not interested
You
about
believe the other hoax,
We are
like
not
Sati.
interested.
Is that
the caste system?
Actually,
Those are hoaxes too.
No, Sati was real. It wasn't hoax.
He quotes the COVID-19 hoax.
No, I compared it with COVID. I didn't say it.
COVID-19 admitted fact. Every organization in the world created in a lab.
Okay.
Biological weapon created in
Don't
a
change the
lab.
topic because you lost.
It's a hoax.
Is there any newspaper you believe in?
Define
No,
to me what
is
a
there
hoax is.
any newspaper you
Define to
believe in?
me what a hoax is.
You are one
What's a
hoax.
hoax?
Like you.
Okay, are the moon landings real?
Oh, here you go.
Really
This guy is a conspirator. Okay. He believes in conspiracy theories.
Okay, tell me now. They really went to
You know,
the
since
moon.
you don't answer any question, let me ask you.
NASA goes to the moon.
According to him, no newspaper
there are
is
no
credible.
hoaxes.
So Reuters is not a credible
hoaxes.
newspaper.
Did
BBC
Reuters say we went to the
What?
moon?
By the way, stop touching me.
Did Reuters say we
I don't
went
want to talk
the
to
moon?
you because you don't answer any questions.
Okay,
So
you've got a hoax.
you know why? You know why he doesn't answer any question? Because he doesn't actually believe anything that is real. Like for example, the caste
So the
system in
moon
India
landings are
is
real.
pretty real. He doesn't believe in it.
COVID-19 is
Okay?
real.
He doesn't believe. I told you I'm not talking to you.
COVID-19
This
real.
part you didn't get. Okay? So he says in
Quoting hoaxes.
none of the newspapers according to him is real. In India, the more caste.
Nobody
Because of
believes
caste,
we went to the moon.
because of
And
caste,
nobody
even if they
today
touch,
believes COVID-19
even if they touch the
was
God's
created in a
idol,
lab.
the lower caste they get killed. This is the caste system.
So what are you saying about the caste system?
I'm saying the caste system is pretty real in India. There are people who die because of the caste system. The reason the reason the constitution has a special clause for protection of the scheduled caste is because of this.
caste, yeah.
Because of this reason that the Hindus used to discriminate them based on which family they were born in. And that is the reason I just read in Upanishads, which is just pushed under the bus.
Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I do disagree with that.
See what I mean? Based on his whims and desires.
Is the Rishi
Well,
Sunak
this is- let
Britain
Dawah
Prime Minister
stop
or not?
interrupting,
Do you
stop
agree or do you
interrupting,
disagree?
Stop interrupting.
Rishi
Well, I
Sunak is the
tried to
Prime Minister
explain-
or not?
No,
Because you
stop,
don't listen
stop.
to brother.
He doesn't listen to any
Beating around the bush.
logic.
You don't want to. We're not interested to listen to you.
The answer
We're
I
not
gave
interested, you know.
was this.
What?
That in these so-called untouchable castes, you had some of the
Scheduled castes.
poorest people in India. And India used to be the richest country in the world. And the reason
to.
why,
Thanks to the Mughals.
by 1947, it was the poorest country in the world, it was.
After
is
the British took
because
over.
the Industrial Revolution meant many of the manufactured tradesmen in India lost their jobs because of industrialization. And those people are your so-called untouchable people.
No.
Those
Hold
are
on.
the people.
The reason
who
the industries
became-
were destroyed was
those are
because of the
people-
colonialists.
Those are the
East
people who
India,
became-
the East India Company, they
Those are the
colonized
people-
this
Yes.
trade. What they
Yes.
used to do, they used to fill the market
Yes.
with the products that came from Britain.
Yes,
And
that's
they
true.
used to take the cotton from India, take it to Britain, and then sell it back to the Indians. That is the
That's
reason.
true.
It's got nothing to do with the
And
caste
Mahatma
system.
Gandhi
That is a
was opposed to
lie.
that.
He's agreeing with that.
I agree with that.
So what is going to do with the caste system?
So you've just,
What is that
you
going to
just
do with
told
caste
me
system?
my answer.
What?
The answer I gave was that the manufactured tradesmen of India were banned from doing their jobs.
But what's that got to do with caste
They
system?
became extremely poor.
he's asking,
So your so-called,
It's got nothing to do with the untouchables.
your so-called unemployed people in India who were extremely poor were all these hundreds of millions of people
That was the
who
cause.
couldn't do their vocations.
That's because of the color. It's got
said
nothing.
that was the
No, no, no.
Colonialism.
The caste
Because of
system.
the East India
Hold on, hold
Company.
on. The caste system existed long before.
Blaming the wrong
See, you won't get. Let me get a word in. What kind of a person are you? Wait, you want to talk? No, you're not.
You are talking.
You will not let anyone talk, and that's the reason I will
You are
talk to you.
talking
Okay.
non-stop.
No, you are the one talking nonsense.
You're
Go watch the
talking
video.
non-stop.
This is on Dawah White and the other
talking
channels.
non-stop.
Okay.
It's been there for ages,
Now
you know.
you see the caste system.
From his
The caste system. You know the.
before.
Yeah, yeah. The Upanishads.
It's been
The
ages.
Upanishads existed
been
long
ages,
before the Brits
Alright, so
and the Mughals came.
Talking the Upanishads that I do, certainly the
do you
ones
have-
I've listened to.
and does-
Don't mention
I give you the reference. I give you the
The
reference.
Upanishads I've
See
listened
again,
to.
he won't let me talk.
The Upanishads.
And that is the reason I don't talk to him, because he won't let anyone
What
talk.
about Kashmir?
What about
And the
Kashmir?
book he's talking about
You know the
is the laws of Manu.
Exactly.
That's the one he's talking
No, I
about.
talk about the Upanishads as
The
well.
one, no, you didn't.
Don't lie, I did
ones
several
with
times.
Upanishads
It's
that
on
I-
the camera. So cameras don't lie like you.
You quoted the laws of Manu.
No, I didn't even quote the laws of Manu. I kept talking about the Upanishads, and you pushed it under the bus. Remember initially?
No, you
You know the difference between Sufi and Smithy.
You
Is
quoted.
there evidence the caste system
Existed before. Yes, there is.
Was it discriminatory?
It was very
There's a
discriminatory.
dispute about that.
Well, no. Oh, now there's a dispute. Earlier you said it's only the Varna. It is only based on the careers.
He's saying
Now you
what
say
is
that you turn.
What did the
discriminatory.
historian say?
The historians
sleeping there,
basically, the
according to him, you
historians
know.
basically state prior to the collapse of the trades, the manufacturing trades in India.
No, that came
it was
later
the
on.
richest country in the world.
Yeah, that was during the Mughal era.
So if these
That was during the Mughal era.
these people are so discriminated against, why are they the richest people on the planet?
Because of the Mughal system.
It's been.
Okay, look here, brother.
Why are they the richest people on the
Can you
planet?
let anybody else have a word in between?
let him
Stop. Okay, you
You're
said
wrong.
No. Before I will say.